Hello YouTube, I'm Drominicus, and this is my 13th episode of Thorsday. And I would like to apologize right off the bat, as it's not being posted on Thursday as it normally would have. Reason being, yesterday I was experiencing a rather crummy headache, and didn't want to try to record while feeling that way, so I do apologize for that. But tonight I present to you a Finnish deity by the name of Lempo. So I do hope that you enjoy tonight's episode. Although I've been unable to find the exact origin or meaning of the name Lempo, what I was able to find was that the name of the deity is sometimes invoked as a sort of curse word. Now, it's not really a stronger curse word like the F-bomb, but it is something similar to like a hell or damn, something a little bit on the lighter scale of the curse word uh, uh, levels, I guess. But, yeah, so Lempo, though I don't know the meaning, sometimes is a curse word, so there you go. Now you know a light curse word in Finnish. One of the more interesting aspects of the deity Lempo is the description, or the lack thereof. What I've been able to find is that I haven't really been able to find much at all on the description. It's actually uncertain as to whether or not Lempo was a male. Lempo could have been a female for all we know. We don't know exactly what gender, what they looked like, anything at all, really. It has been mentioned that Lempo may have had a sort of fiery hair style sort of thing, like red, yellow, orange, the whole 9 yards, and wreathed in fire. But not really certain as to exactly what Lempo looks like or what gender or sex Lempo really is, which is kind of an interesting thought, because as I will discuss later, one of the domains of Lempo is that of love. So it's kind of an interesting idea, given that Lempo is not gendered, or depending on where you look, could be either or, and is, a deity of love. So it's kind of a neat parallel there when you really think about it. So yeah, depiction of Lempo, nothing really to offer for the most part as far as what Lempo looked like. So there you go. Kind of an interesting fact in and of itself that there isn't really anything there. So where Lempo was actually worshipped in Finnish paganism, obviously Finland was the prime location, but also in Estonia and a region known as Karelia. Now, Karelia is actually a divided area between Russia and Finland. So it's got, traditionally divided up between certain areas. But yeah, so not tied to any one particular location, but definitely worshipped throughout those three countries, or, well, those two countries in that one region. Yeah, so there you go. That's where Lempo was primarily worshipped. So when it comes down to symbols for Lempo, there wasn't really very much at all that I was able to find. In fact, there was nothing that I was able to find in regards to any symbols of worship or any symbols associated with the deity themselves. So that said, I find it a little bit surprising, considering that, as I will discuss again a little bit later, where Lempo is the deity of love, you would expect there to be some sort of symbol, whether it be flowers or some particular animal, or something like that. But there was nothing that I was able to find associated with Lempo in regards to symbols. So there you have it. So as mentioned in the previous sections, Lempo is the deity of love, also of fertility, and has been seen to be associated with fire, although it's not 100% certain if that is an actual domain or not. Could be said that it's, the fire of passion and love, etc., which would make perfect sense. Now, the thing is that when Christianity came in to the Finnish regions there, as previously mentioned, Estonia, Finland, and Karelia, they, as they are wont to do, the Christians at that time, started pushing out the native religion. So the Finnish paganism sort of started getting stomped out, changed, and just morphed around by the Christian faith coming in. And as such, the then deity of love and fertility was later transmogrified into a sort of demonized version of that. Literally demonized. In fact, sometimes was associated with their own devil. So that in itself is kind of an indicator of what the then Christians thought of any religions that weren't their own, sort of a thing. But it did cause an interesting transition from love and fertility into something completely different. It took all of the negative aspects of love and just corrupted what was then something that people really, were really right into, really worshipped and thought good of, into something really evil, to the point where Lempo was in fact becoming the devil. So yeah, that's kind of one of the more interesting points of Lempo that I was able to find, is how Christianity at that time twisted and warped and just outright corrupted something that was, at least to the Finnish paganism at that time, something really great. So yeah, there you go. Really interesting story behind the domains. When it came down to worshipping Lempo, there wasn't anything in particular that I could find as far as any practices, but what I was able to find was that Lempo was worshipped in regards to, and keep in mind the original domain being love and fertility, the rites or rituals that they would practice to Lempo would be for sexual stamina, would be for good luck in their love life, that sort of thing. So it wasn't exactly to get love or find the right person. It was basically to maintain their own sort of relationship in that sense. So, with that said, as far as the actual practices of the Finnish pagan religion at that time, I wasn't, again, able to find anything specific to Lempo, but their own individual practices, they did actually practice ancestor veneration. Now, ancestor veneration is basically a process that honors the dead, honors their fallen family and whatnot. And this took place in what were known as Hisi. Now, Hisi were similar to the Celtic Druids' clearings, where they would have their own rituals and whatnot. But in this case, there wasn't any structure, again, like the Druids. The sacred forest that they did have this in had an offering stone that was known as an Urakivi. Now, in Urakivi, they would place their offerings, their sacrifices, on this stone. It was sort of an altar stone thing, where they would, make that offering to their ancestors. Now, with that said, when Christianity came in to that area, Finland and whatnot, the Christians saw the Hisi as evil places to be stomped out, and so they did, by building churches on top of the Hisi and effectively ruining the sacred sites by chopping down the trees and whatnot. So basically to eliminate any trace of Finnish paganism in the area. And they would declare Hisi, various Hisis, as evil places, and ancestor veneration as an evil practice, that sort of thing. So again, we can see the influence that Christianity had on Finnish paganism. Much like the Celtic Druids, the Finnish pagan mythology was an oral tradition. So it was passed down through generations by spoken words. So poetry, various mythology stories, and whatnot were passed down from generation to generation. Now, with that said, when the Christians came in, they wanted to stomp out all traces of the paganist religion there. Now, admittedly, they didn't do their job 100% well, which is good for us because we do have surviving mythologies in the form of the Kalevala. Now, the Kalevala is actually an epic poem, or actually a compilation of epic poems that was compiled by Elias Lönnrot. And that actually has various folklore and mythology from the Finnish paganist tradition that has survived. So that's where we actually get a lot of it. So yeah, there's not very much in regards to stories on Lempo, but that's, what I've explained here in this video is pretty much about all that we know about Lempo. Again, there's not really very much in the way of stories that I was able to find. Likely anything that had been existing at that time was destroyed or just stopped from being told. So, that said, I do hope that you guys enjoyed this look at Lempo, and I hope that you guys tune in next week for all my other videos, and you guys have a great one. I'm Drominicus, and I'm out.